Mm.
And we are live back in another episode, the dojo. We have entered the dojo once again, Ryan G. And
Mhm.
today we're talking about another topic on the GPS podcast. GPS, Guided Primal Sutra podcast.
Correct.
And how are you feeling, man? How are you doing? What's been
Doing
new?
well. It's almost time for bed, so I figured, fuck it. Here I am in my pajamas, looking at you and asking myself, is he going out or is he just dressing casually today?
Hey, man, you got to bring the swagger. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Clearly, clearly.
got to bring the swagger every time. All right, let's check the. I'm gonna check the live chat if there's
Oh yeah,
anyone
good point. Good
listening.
point.
Do I need to change the settings for live chat? Maybe.
I don't know, man. I do not know.
So why your spirit guides aren't working with you? FOO. Okay,
Right.
that's the name of today's podcast. And I want you to first of all, guys, I want you to reflect on how you
Mm-hmm.
receive guidance because you've got to really be open to diverse forms of guidance. So it's not so much so that you always have a guide, but you have feelings, symbols, and actions of people around you that might be undervalued, overlooked, ignored, pushed aside. So that's the first thing is like get way more attuned and intuitive in terms of how you receive guidance and
Yeah.
what you receive guidance from.
But then, of course, the question is, one, what do you mean by spirit guides, and what do you mean by getting in tune with said spirit guides?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Let's get specific.
So, in our particular path working of Primal
Hmm.
Sutra, we understand spirit guides to be future echoes or ripples of ourselves. So, they are aspects of our psyche, aspects of ourself, and we might have met them, you could say, connected with them through many different past lives,
Hmm.
or perhaps relationships we've been in and interacting with others, or it could be through many different traumas where certain entities might have gotten a stronghold on you, or perhaps they found a way in. Um, I think 90% of the planet right now has an entity possession without them knowing about it. Um,
That much?
yeah, it's pretty high. I did a test the other week of muscle test.
Okay,
So it's pretty
okay.
high. And yeah, I think spirit guides per se are guidance for ourselves. Think of the higher self as all of these spirit guides interconnected.
Yes.
And the higher self is like the all-seeing eye in a sense. It's the one that can see all the guides, all the timelines, all the realms.
Hmm.
So you got to reflect on whether you're resisting change, or maybe you could even be fearing the unknown, perhaps, or just doubt, like doubting their presence, maybe superstitious religious ideas in your family.
Right.
It could be that you just haven't talked to them in a while, right? Like you
Could
just
be.
lost touch, you just lost contact. It happens at times, even with people, right? So you just need to DM, slide in the DM, connect, go for it. And maybe journal about it even, or have a heartfelt conversation with one of your guides. Set an extended time to reconnect and build rapport again. For instance, Ogmios didn't really want to work with me in the beginning, Ryan G.
Mm.
But then I started to write for him, and my copywriting language and my linguistics drew him to me again. Then he got interested because I wrote him a specific letter. And in that letter, I specified why he should work with me and what's the benefit, right? And I just signed it with the date.
Okay.
I gave an eyelash, right? And I
That's
made it into
a
visual.
that's a good example, but let's also explain who Ogmios is to give a little bit of an
Ogmios
idea
is
on.
the god of the Celtic god of binding, so he's very good for words, copywriting, persuasion, these types of things. One of the techniques that he taught me is you always find reasons why not to buy something, and so give people the reasons. So give people
Yes.
the reasons as to basically what's wrong with your product that pushes certain people away already. Um,
Right.
it's a very powerful thing I learned from him. A lot of other techniques, of course, but yeah. Why was I bringing that up, Ryan G? So
It was that you were dealing with a deity that wasn't necessarily interested, and until you
wasn't
took
interested.
certain
Yeah.
actions, they became interested.
Yes, qualities of
Mm,
character, as Mathis, one of our adepts, is saying, or spiritual awareness level, depending on the guide. Yep.
correct.
It's maybe
So,
that you're not at their frequency and you haven't
correct.
met them there. Yeah, you're still kind
Yeah,
of trying to chase or pull them in. Yeah.
correct. In a similar sense, I would say Jin, the Wiccan elemental king of fire for me, who is one of my more favorite deities to work with because he is a deity of action. And until I went through a shame attacking initiation
Mm.
very deliberately,
I
which I
like
then
that. I like
accepted.
that, bro, because well, it's called a shame attacking exercise by this psychologist Albert Ellis, and you called
Yes.
it an initiation, so that makes it like shamanic in a sense.
Yeah. Well, it makes things easier for me. Let's say that. But
They're not
as
problems, they're initiations, as we
exactly, right?
that's one of our principles. Yep.
In the very same sense, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's very similar with deities, and
And
in
vice
how you
versa,
see
yeah.
these spirit guides, that's pretty much the way that they will lead you as well, as per my experience and experiences that
Hmm.
I've seen and witnessed with the adepts. Um, have there been situations where I really wanted to work with a DT, even made a pact, but it's been a little bit more difficult to work with him? I would say yes. I would say I have a pact with Perpetual as an angel of luck. And for some reason, I've been having a very tough time connecting with it, or him, I should say. Whereas it has a very easy time connecting with me. It's almost like I do not understand what this energy represents. And
Yeah.
that's how I work. In my understanding in how to work with someone, a spirit guide in this case, it's in the way that I can employ them or team up with them. And in this conversation, in this podcast that we're having, we're starting to see patterns. The pattern has a lot to do with know who is your spirit guide and how they can work with you, and to which extent are you willing to become conscious of, the situation that you find yourself in and how to get to that next level, which
Right. And
always requires.
sometimes, yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes you might even need like a bridge deity to help you understand what is happening. So, for instance, when I first begun to work with Dragon King, I had no idea what
Oh
kind
yeah,
of dragon language he was speaking. So I needed the Nagaraja from the Hindu
oh yeah,
pantheon to be a
I remember.
translator for that being.
I
Um,
remember. I
so
remember.
sometimes you might need a translator, okay? I have Hermes as one of my main translators, and it's very, very powerful, that energy of Mercury, because communication is one of the ways that you change reality. You change the physical world.
Yeah.
So Hermes is really powerful for that.
Mm,
And you could find it on your pharmacy logo. Okay.
that's true. Hmm. Why should
His staff.
people
Yeah.
care or even care about this topic, Sumit?
So nowadays, as the veil is thinning, as people's consciousness is raising, spirit guides are going to be way more relevant in the future. Everybody will have quite an understanding of it, and be able to perceive it quite differently, let's just say, in the future.
Mm.
Right now, it's like kind of a weird niche, maybe new age spirituality thing that people
For
look
now.
at and they put into a box. So, um, I'm looking for the people who want to be trendsetters and pioneers in this field, and that's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we're sharing this vision, this message, and
Right.
to transcend the like love and light 24/7 paradigm.
Of
Really.
course. So the next obvious question is, why should the audience care about whether they have a good connection with their spirit guides or not?
I think, well, I just envisioned a reality where, let's say, they don't care at all.
Mm.
Maybe it wasn't in their destiny, dharma, fate to have one, you know?
Mm.
I think guides find you. It's not the other way around. Like sometimes they will just scope you out and seek you out because of your mission or path. So your spiritual lineage or your discipleship and so forth.
Right.
So,
Right.
um,
The fruit must be ripe
yeah,
before you can pick it. Right.
exactly. Right. And so why is it important for people to know about this?
Hmm.
Because, well, this is my own personal take on this. I think the opposite of integration with your spirit guides would be fragmentation or separation from your spirit
Right.
guides, which means less help or opportunity or chance for you to actually cause ripples in this world. That's just
Right.
my take on it. But what would you say,
Right.
Ranji?
So the moment you said that, I was reminded the way people abuse people in order to get them under their control is to fragment the mind.
Mm,
Someone who is not of mind is easier to control
right,
by
definitely.
denying, right? It's like systematically destroying this human being until it becomes not she or he becomes nothing more than a shell of themselves. Cool. Now that's a shell you can fill. And as you fill the mind or wash the mind, if you know what I'm trying to say, you're technically also washing the body, thus affecting the soul, thus removing the individual from their own unique frequency into a frequency that someone or something can manipulate, to put it mildly,
Right.
thus making it very hard for the spirit guides to even start guiding this individual because you're too busy trying to reconnect and protect the affected individual, right? And that's why
Right.
my father kept saying, those in position of power, you need to take spirituality, occultism, etc. very seriously. Because
Yeah.
now it's not just about you. It's about you and those that you can influence, and you have to be cautious of the fact that they will find you, especially because you are in a position of power. And the darkness likes nothing more than to control and influence people that seek more. You know what I mean? I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to look far. You like look at your own family, and you'll see the insanity of, let's say, greed. Because they want
Mm,
to, let's say, dance with the devil and be given all that
mm,
wealth without necessarily having earned it. You know,
right.
they have reached a level, they somehow cheated, right? But they don't have that gratification that comes with earning it, etc., etc., etc. Thus, the void never really gets filled, so you just keep dancing with the devil, which is forever,
Mhm.
and it just keeps getting worse, and it just keeps stacking, and it becomes from simply being self-destructive to destroying your environment until there's nothing left.
So counterproductive because you need to be in a receptive state to even receive guidance and that, right? So it's like if you're over analyzing or trying to force communication, that's gonna clog up the dam even more than you just maybe listening to a song or like being in an art piece and then thinking about Horus or something,
Exactly. It's
right?
like forcing a dance. That doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
The dance happens in the moment. And I can take like 4 or 5 steps ahead, right?
But
Depending
then
on the
you're in the
situation.
mind of the dance. You're not dancing,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. The most fun I had dancing as well when I would just shut off my mind
Just like
and
yeah,
just go nuts.
yeah.
Maybe I elbowed someone by accident.
You remember when you like put the beer on you? And that
Ah,
was
yeah,
our
yeah,
spiritual frat boy days.
yeah,
Yeah,
We haven't gone out in New
in a
Zealand though,
while.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's make this more interesting. Which one of our deities have had a hard time connecting with that I'm not aware of, given the title of this podcast?
Hmm. Well, I think perhaps the first one that's coming up is Montu. Like, remember the point where he just wasn't showing up for a while for you? And
Hmm,
then suddenly after you started fighting with him and like really engaging with his energy, then he started to like want to work and like push further.
right.
And I would say Odin had a few challenges for you, I remember in the beginning too, like before he
Yeah,
was finally ready to work with you. That
I
was
had to
wild.
go through a complete mushroom initiation, man. That was tough.
Mm.
That was tough. It
Yeah,
is. Odin is a very misunderstood energy. It's how weird are you willing to be? It's one of the funniest things he ever said because what he's really asking you is, or me then, during the shroom trip is, the uniqueness of the individual. How willing are you to be as authentic as you can be, regardless of the given context?
mm,
That is my understanding of Odin. Can you see it?
right.
Right?
Can you see it?
Because here's the
Can you see it
thing.
clearly though? Because you can see it, but what if it's fuzzy?
Hey, one thing that I've realized, right? Also looking at my past relationships, etc.
Mm,
Everybody wants to push away the warrior. Everybody wants to push away the shaman until it's time
mm,
for war or someone is sick,
mm,
right? It's constantly the same thing, right? Oh, so now that you need me, now I'm important. Oh, in the same way, I'm guessing the spirit guys feel a certain type of way when you only want to use it when it's convenient. And I don't like
right.
that. Of course, I can't have
Yeah.
attention on everyone at the same time. We all get that. But why not make an altar? Why not keep it as simple as possible? I mean, the Hindus do it a lot, etc.
Well, I think
The
having even a mental altar is even important, like just having a visual where all your guides are playing with each other. And that's a powerful one that we discovered a while back,
um,
where we imagined all of our guides as just little versions of themselves, really, like young versions of
right.
themselves.
But
And they're all like all together and they're
yeah,
all connected in that one visualization, right? Because some people are using guides because they feel incomplete. They feel
mm,
like I'm lacking something. I need some external thing to make me feel power. And
right,
because they don't feel powerful already as a shaman. So,
right. I
yeah.
in some sense, I do still assign myself to that. It is also what is part of my drive, right? It's to complete myself, whatever
Mm,
that means. Although logically, I know I'm complete. I know that. But there's emotional parts that don't think so. What about the
mm,
spiritual parts that are hinting at more potential that I'm not aware of? So it's just this
mm,
constant drive of pushing myself to Near breaking point. I mean, you've seen it in
Yeah.
many of our trips where I am very willing to go as deep as required and even more.
Mm.
And with the New Zealand trip, I had to force myself as per the mission from Gob, King Gob, the elemental king of Earth. Um, Instead of chasing the goal, bring the goal closer to you until, you could just pick it up and there it is, right? In what I just said also has a lot to do with your attitude and your willingness to enter the shadow realm, right? Nobody likes to deal with the shadows that they've been hiding from the world and from themselves. Now you can lie to the world and you can fake whatever you think you are to the world, wear whatever mask you want to wear in order to play the worldly theater, but you can never really lie to yourself because you know it's untrue. And when working with certain types of deities, what's a good deity? Let's say the dragon energies. The dragon energy does not work well with lies. It's either you speak the
Definitely
truth
not.
or
Yeah.
we are not working together because they don't have time for this. They're very powerful energies. They
Yeah,
can burn.
they want commitment, they want proof that you're authentic,
Exactly.
that you're not just doing it for some weird ego gratification trip or some
Right?
kind of, yeah,
Right?
for sure.
Bookmark that work for a second. So, if you want to work with dragon energy, you must be willing to speak the truth even though it hurts. It is kind of how I coined, reaching harmony to conflict, whether it's conflict with yourself, conflict with the other parties, but if truth
11-11.
must be stated, if truth must be stated, then it must be stated, and just what it is. You might hate me in the moment, but truth tends to make a lot of things work out somehow. Somehow, right?
Truth is the diamond that cuts through everything, all noise, all illusion. So that's why we're following the Vajra path.
Yeah.
And
Chicken
yeah,
Nugget, Chicken McNugget says Lilith. I love Lilith. I am.
Chicken McNugget is
S-
Pharos, bro.
Ah, bro, why do you always have a different? Uh, could you stick to one username, man? It's you and Prosper P. Always has some. How do you expect me to, man? Anyway,
We figure these things out as we go, bro. But yeah.
yeah,
By the way, primalsutramysteryschool.com. Also check
exactly.
out spiritualmasterychallenge.com, which
Yes.
is coming soon. And we're coming down to Chinese New Year as well. And
Oh
oh,
yeah,
Ellie
Chinese New
says, yeah,
Year. So
dancing with the devil means black magic. Yeah.
yeah.
We actually got that code today, Ellie. Like it was so interesting because we were discovering this lyric from Immortal Technique of dancing with the devil
Oh
means
yeah,
you have to dance forever or something like that. So it's like once you sell your soul, it's kind of like,
it's
hey,
over. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. There was definitely like the part where some unsavory things were happening with a person of the opposite gender without revealing too much, and just the shock factor of the lyrics just blew my mind. And
yeah.
it's just
It's a tough one to natural ground to, bro, to be honest with you.
yeah, I
Because
had
it's
to
like,
stop
oh, man, it's
twice. I was
dark.
like,
Yeah,
woof, but it's good.
yeah. It shows you anti-life right away,
Yeah,
this song. I made this when I was in middle school.
me too.
That's funny.
I have no idea what Double E is talking about, but sure. Thanks for
She
the
loves it how I don't know how to talk. That's what she's trying to say, I think.
don't know how to talk. What check
That's an
in?
incredible compliment.
Okay, sure. Anyway, let's continue on. So, magical grounding to that song was just epic, and it made me realize a few things. Those who choose this path of darkness. Now, I'm not talking about our Primal Sutra path. I'm really like The moment you decide to commit to that, it's complete commitment. Every time you want to deviate, you're gonna get so severely punished that I just look at it like that's just not for me. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't want to have to deal with people like that. That's that's not my tribe. That's not my frequency. Leave me the fuck alone. What
Right.
is my frequency is me, myself, and I, and all those who are about that vision and abundance and vision of abundance. Because in New Zealand, I realized to be in abundance means to be abundant, means there's so much to give. Why
Yeah.
would I worry? Why would I worry? Why would I care?
When
You
there's
know?
plenty. Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's why when we
Mm.
were at Cape Rangane, whatever it's called again, at
Rianga, yeah.
Rianga, right? God, the names. And
Okay,
I
Ranga. Yeah.
Ranga, exactly. And threw a coin over the edge. I remember wishing for a world where everybody has their vision of abundance. Because without clarity, it's kind of hard to move. But now that you have a vision, ah, now we can start hitting that dartboard sharper. Now you might not hit the bullseye always, but you're damn close, right?
Yeah.
Now that the compass is clear, fantastic. And what I've noticed with me is me and my deities is that the clearer I am with what I want, the easier it becomes for me to manifest. I mean, last year I didn't have a vision board. I only had two goals, three technically. Getting my master's, getting my blue belt, going to New Zealand. That's all I cared about.
Remember that you were
And
doing that blue belt visualization, Ryan? Like even before you got it?
yeah,
You want
yeah.
to speak about that a little bit to the audience? Just I know it's a little bit
So,
off topic, but yeah,
it's a little bit off topic, but it does have overlap. So this is what I did. Basically two things. My Shakti rituals has to do with the feminine energy that I work with. Doing a gratitude walk while buying the roses, heading to the beach, parking the car, walking to the ocean, giving the flowers, walking back, constantly in gratitude, playing gratitude frequencies and both reminiscing about all the things that I am grateful for within the here and the now, and for almost bringing the future back to me, right? And already
yeah,
being grateful for it. And
yeah,
while practicing that, given the context of the blue belt, how I'm really asking myself, how would I grapple like a blue belt? Just
yeah.
really asking myself. And it became the moment I see an opportunity to strike or take someone down, fucking take it. Don't ask questions, no hesitation, and just be, in the words of Chicken McNugget over here, ferocious.
Mm. You mean his name, bro?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ferocious. Yeah.
Ferocious. Anyway, and
Um,
while doing that, the highest possible frequency that a human being can have, I think, is the authenticity, right? And
yeah,
what below that authenticity is according to whatever, I don't remember the name of the scale, but you have gratitude. And I can't always find myself in the authenticity, so I know I can be grateful. And then I ask
right.
myself, how does it look like? How does it feel? Where in my body do I feel it? When I'm grateful, how do I walk? How do I talk? How do I sound?
Mm.
And then bringing the energy up again.
Do you think spirit guides don't want to work with people who are very like, let's say, unoriginal or like they're NPCs or like clones?
I don't know, man.
Because I know that's kind of a stretch, but I'm just thinking about it in terms of because there's a lot of like Mathis just commented, Primal Sutra has 888 code abundance codes, right? So basically, let me explain this to the audience who are wondering what the hell's going on. Um, we had put in when we first created Primal Sutra, we put the
yeah.
name into this Hebrew spiritual text calculator called
Gematria.
Gematria.
Yeah, yeah.
Gematria. And we saw that Primal Sutra was 888. So eight is known for abundance, the
Right.
path of abundance, the path of instant karma, the path of um, revitalization, like the investment, right? Putting something in, getting something back, putting something in, getting something back.
Huh.
And so there's this guy called Conscious X who puts weird things into gematria and is like, Orlando Brown is actually Trippy Red, or like he'll make like really bizarre like videos like this.
Okay. So I have a
And
few things to say about that. He is definitely a misunderstood genius.
yes,
Definitely.
he's using his skill set inappropriately, whereas he could be using it for something like genius. You know what I mean? Like he's like
It
one of those
resonates
pattern
remind you of
recognizers.
when Spider-Man met like some lizard guy, right? And he's
Hmm.
saying like, bro, but with your genius you could cure cancer. It's like, nah, I want to make
Right.
turn people into dinosaurs. And I'm like, bro, you're not making this easy for me to like you. You know, something along those lines. People can have such genius, right, to them and decide to still do something less than productive, let's say that. Now, this is like no comment towards him. I if ever I want to go like the conspiracy route, like some days in the week, I'm just like, fuck it, I need to have like a good story, and I just die for a few hours in the conspiracy trees videos. I'm like, oh shit, this and this makes sense. At some point, what I find myself in is kind of going down this negative spiral, and I'm like,
Yeah, the conspiracy rabbit hole. We've all
ugh.
been there. Oh
And
man.
now I just need to go for a nature walk, do a cold plunge in the ocean just to
You
up my
become so
energy again.
dense, right? Because it's
Yeah,
so much
yeah.
information overload. Yeah, I totally get that. And this is why you want to really catch yourself when you do go down those rabbit holes. Like at a certain point, you click the, 500th page of this article, and then you see
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
someone yelling at you
It's
about
it's
like
it's
frogs being gay. So,
well technically it has been proven. Anyway, Alex Jones has been looking pretty fit the last few days. Anyway, um
do you know
yeah.
that guy who was like wanting to live forever or whatever? That guy who's like taking blood or
Yeah. He looks like a young vampire.
vampire for sure.
Yeah, he's something.
Yeah.
There's something a little bit off about it. I just can't put my finger on it. But, you know, thanks to his investment, technically medicine like what he's investing in is trickling down to, the usual healthcare. So there's some
Yeah, man.
improvement there. Thanks for the sacrifice, my G. I'm just really wondering whether it's worth it. I mean, as a physical shaman as well, I'm passionate about physical movement because I'm a grappler. I have to be. It's kind of part of it, right? So why did you bring that up again?
Oh, I was just watching the thing on Netflix because, the age is there's so much like ageism and like we need to live the longest, but that's kind of like I'm
Uh,
just thinking whether he's compromised because it's like that's kind of a Luciferian agenda if you think about it, the immortality thing, right? So I'm just thinking like maybe these longevity experts aren't so, positive as they paint themselves out on these magazines, let's just
I
say.
mean, marketing is marketing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I plead the fifth in this case because I do would like to outlive my
I mean, we
siblings.
all would, bro. That's the thing. The ego wants to live forever. That's the
Yeah, the
thing.
ego does
You
want to live
know?
forever, right?
Straight
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Let's address the comments a little bit. Someone good to have you
Yeah.
back. Yada. I agree on a 50% basis on the statement when a person is grateful they are rather quiet and were served. That's kind of relative to the human being. I've had moments where I was very grateful and just quiet, where I was just, you know, satisfied with just saying nothing. And there were other moments where I was just so grateful. I wasn't necessarily quiet, I was just laughing. It was the first time I did shrooms, I was both people where I was just in such gratitude, looking out the window, feeling the sun on my skin, looking at the birds in the trees, and just being just so overwhelmed by
by
just
life,
natural,
bro.
yeah, by life. And
Straight
then
up, by
every
life.
time I hit some random epiphany, my knees get weaker and the gratitude just takes over. And I'm definitely feeling moments of whatever void that is within me just being completely filled and almost just washing over or spilling over with gratitude. Just so much I have. I
Mhm.
couldn't possibly know what to do with it. Right? And oh,
And the
which
cup
then again,
overflowing.
which
Yeah,
which
that's
let
the other thing.
which that mushroom trip was required for me to get in contact with Zangief, my black pet dragon, because we follow a very similar path. And I remember
If
you and I
people
were
didn't
on
know
the
the
phone.
context of this podcast, Ryan, that wouldn't
Yeah,
even make sense to any
nah,
of you. Like
nah,
your coworkers, your fucking, you know what I
no,
mean?
but well,
Like,
the joke is, the joke is, even during the job slash project interviews, I kind of bring it up. I even
Mhm,
like make what like verbalize the vision of Primal Sutra, right? And
mhm.
they're like, okay, that's cool, that's cool. We'll probably hear about it at some point while my ears start ringing.
Mm,
And during that shroom trip, I remember talking to you. I'm looking up at the sky, and the clouds are parting and making like a big O. And I
mm.
feel like something or some things are just looking at me, and I'm like describing something at you, and I'm making prophetic statements.
Yeah.
And again, for some reason, I lose myself in the moment, and everything becomes black. And I'm trying to look at my body, and I'm for some reason, like a complete black dragon surrounded by the cosmos and stars and whatnot. And as I regain consciousness, I realize I kept talking and I don't know what I said. And to this day, I don't know what I said to you, but it was very cryptic, apparently.
It was just kind of like a wise dude on the top of a mountain, like spewing like poetry.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's kind of what it seemed like. And
yeah,
I was trying to piece it together too, but it was difficult, bro. You
yeah,
were
yeah,
gone. You were in the ninth
yeah,
dimension or something.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
let's go
but
through these comments, man. So someone's arguing with a famous YouTuber. Should you
yeah,
report
block him.
them? If you want to, but again, it's an argument, so you might not want to just, it is what it is. Like,
The I have
make
found the
it
most efficient
make an edited
course.
video about it or something,
That's an
Of
idea,
it.
yeah. Have a reaction. Again, it really depends on what you want. My case is, anything that serves my harmony, please leave me alone. Block, remove, let go. But when it
Yeah.
comes to the marketing aspect, again, I don't know what you do, all right? A reaction video would be appropriate. Have a nice back and forth, you know? Don't get your ass sued,
Yeah.
of course. Don't
Of
defame
course,
anyone,
read
but
the
just speak
disclaimer,
facts.
guys. Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
disclaimer, don't be an idiot, is what I
Right.
really want to say. Follow the
Right.
laws of the land, yada yada yada. Don't do drugs. Unless it's with me. You know what I'm saying?
Word up.
Yeah,
So I
fucking.
all oh, Ellie also argues with famous YouTubers. It sounds like Jumanji the movie. Oh, great movie. Great
The
movie drop
first
name.
one is a fantastic one.
Movie
I
name
don't know
drop.
about the others. I'm a little bit 50-50
The
on it.
first one was the best. I don't know about the
Yes.
others either with the Rock
It's
and all those. I don't know.
I mean, I'm
Um,
still a bit of a fan of The Rock, the original, you know,
the original
probable.
idea was the GOAT. Like it was
Yeah.
actually one of the greatest movie concepts. Like
Is he compromised?
who?
The Rock.
Yes.
How heavily?
I'm testing strong. It's high up there. It's maybe like a 7 out of 10 compromised.
That's
Yeah.
that's did he
Yeah.
choose this himself?
No.
Should we get involved?
No.
Oh no,
This
then
is
fuck that shit.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that means there are other things involved that we shouldn't get involved in. As
Yeah.
for that may be us in 10 years, then we might get involved when we have a bigger network and a bigger army.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, I do want to help celebrities in the
Yeah,
future and so forth, and
yeah,
I have helped low level, let's just say Instagram influencers and so forth. But I think that they're in such a position
yeah,
that there's so much infiltration, and all they
yeah.
do is they just go to these parties where the
Huh?
most anti-life energies hang around,
Yeah.
and like,
I mean, we have a recent
yeah,
example in New Zealand, right? Because Shane, right? He's a DJ. No, he's a combination of a DJ and an event organizer. I won't say his full name, of course. And I remember Pete being on the phone, me being in the back seat, him talking, and Pete requesting, me to activate a certain spell using one of my favorite devouring beings, because he very much loves devouring phantoms, dark energies, negative forces, whatever. And I remember me feeling bloated because of his energetic connection with me. I also feel what's happening. And I remember just feeling bloated, worn out, irritated, and having to ask other spirit guides I'm well connected with to either help speed this up, just to protect him from being punched on the nose by a Nordic protective being from, say, Shane, and just realizing how important it is for especially those that are in the public eye to be spiritually protected, man. It's like, when a sultan has a spiritual advisor, that guy is there to protect the sultan spiritually. Because when you are successful in whatever way, shape, or form, you will lose friends or people you thought were friends and gain unfortunate enemies. Let's say that. And
Mm, yeah.
this is just part of the territory. Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate fact of the situation. And as
Well,
you
it's also like fortunate that he knows Pete and that he knows
yeah.
us and that there's a connect there. So I think that a lot of healer shamans should share their services, other healer friends. We should introduce their services and really
Well,
create like a healing community. And we always do this too. We
so
recommend services that have
exactly.
benefited us.
I will say just to play the devil's advocate in a timely and appropriate manner because
Yeah.
to simply share something doesn't necessarily make sense to me. I will give it the context of we have a lot of good friends that are also shamans that have helped it in the past. Yeah, I mean, look at Frank White. He has helped us a great deal on setting up the foundation of
Mm,
our spiritual knowledge, pragmatic spiritual knowledge. And through him and the Grail of the Serpent, I have managed to gain the confidence on doing the things that I need to do and seek my own path. I am thinking of revisiting the lessons at some point, but we'll see when we get there. Um, I do believe that if you, as the individual shaman, decide to connect with your spirit team, it will deliver you great success. Maybe not in the near future, but it's inevitable that you will become successful and you will feel whatever void that you need to fill, and it will force you to understand why you have that void, why you have those shadows, and such. Yeah,
mm.
yeah.
Train your intuition, I would say definitely, man, because it's only then you're gonna know that, okay, this is a guy that I really genuinely, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart want to work with.
Yeah,
It's not just some random encounter that you picked up or an entity attachment from fourth grade that's just keep lingering, or this strange false light being that's like siphoning you, but really you think it's helping you. Like there's
right,
so many loopholes in this journey, and this is why you have to surround yourself with community,
right.
tribe. and protection.
Right. Remember when we had an in-depth session and I was being contacted by a fake siren, so to speak, and then
Yeah,
Claudia didn't trust it at all,
yeah,
right? And I just
yeah.
kept asking the right kind of questions until it couldn't give an answer, and then suddenly it started poltergeisting in this room. And I was like, you don't get to do that. And I just felt like someone's nail just trying to scratch the top part of my back, and I was like, okay, motherfucker.
Mm,
Back then, I didn't have a core to me to just handle whatever this is. But then we also, through its dealings, right? We managed to get in contact with the Egyptian siren, and we became somewhat friends with her. So, with this, a bad event doesn't necessarily mean a bad outcome. You can still decide to be the victor regardless of the situation that you find yourself in, right? I mean, a
yeah,
bad position, it's like grappling. Playing from a bad position does not necessarily mean you lose. You can
right.
still do a lot of destruction if you know what you're doing, and that's the thing. If you don't know what you're doing, how would you even know?
It could also be that you've evolved so much that your guides have shifted. So your vibration has changed and your
Ah,
guides will shift. So your
shouldn't be
guides
asking
can
that
change.
questioning because
Yeah,
after the New Zealand trip, our vibration changed massively.
yeah.
Have my guides changed?
Some of them, yeah, some of them have. Well, your relationship with them is going to change and it's going to show based on that. So how they
Ah,
interact
that's
with
what
you.
you meant.
So if
Right,
you're
right,
and if you're entering a new phase, you might need to attune to new energies or new
right.
frequencies. Um, but if you just set the intention to connect with your current guides, acknowledging, let's say that any new ones that have stepped in, then the pre-existing guides will attune to the new guide.
Yeah.
Almost like if you introduce someone new into a friend group, it's like, hey, this is Josh. If you give them a weird intro, they're just gonna ignore him, right? Like this is one of my best friends from third grade. If I say that, then it's
Ah,
like
yeah.
an automatic like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the group, right? So the same
Huh.
thing with guides. You have to have an
Ah,
automatic in, and this is why we work with various pantheons so we
right.
can connect through a wider a wide a wider spectrum, right?
Exactly. Huh. Is that the reason why I've had an easier time connecting with, let's say, the Manticore Diblu? Because
Hmm.
initially, during one of the stream sessions, I just wasn't really understanding him, and now I'm like, okay, you're like a completely different kind of. He's very similar to Tezcatlipoca, but he's his
Yeah.
own thing, and very similar, very. But I would say how Boreas is stoic would have like the stoic version of Tezcatlipoca, but then it's also his own thing. And again, whatever lessons and guidance he has for me, we shall find out soon.
Well, he's
Uh,
also connected to like the ideas of body dysmorphia. So you know how some people feel like,
hmm.
oh, my nose is too big, or my ears are too small, or like, my kneecap is too crooked, or this little
Right,
thing is wrong. So Diblu helps you understand that even though he's made of so many different animals, he's still one like integrated being,
that's
fully
correct.
functional. So that's what it's really meant to teach you is your functionality, your optimization, and
Well,
the interconnectedness of your body parts.
the name Manticore also means man-eater.
Uh,
It is the well in my context would be the willingness to eat oneself, to eat the old self in order to
eat the
make
old
room
self
for
in order
new.
to, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It is what Brucey says, right? The use of the candle is when it burns itself in order to light the room.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think that would be
Yep, the
a
icing
good
on the
part
cake.
of, yeah, the icing on the cake and the cherry on top. Because as you decide to lighten yourself, or better said, uplift yourself,
Do you even
you,
uplift, bro?
yeah, exactly, right? Your ability to uplift also dictates the ability to uplift yourself, the world, your environment, and thus attracting arguably the right kind of energies. But with the awareness, and this comes from Mike Tyson, I don't know where he got the quote from, but to be favored by God is to be favored by the devil, right?
Mm.
Like look at the Ramanayan, the
Ramayana?
original
Yeah.
Ramayana, exactly, where what's his name? Ravana used to be a very noble man, but in his entitlement of wanting the best of the best for himself, he also demanded the best women, etc. He he stole women, he kidnapped Mother Sita, and lost everything in the process. And what isn't talked about enough is after he was defeated by Lord Rama, for the last few moments that Lord Ravana was alive, Lord Rama asked him to be his teacher and teach him of
Mm.
his ways and the gaps in his knowledge as like a parting gift. Because once the enemy is defeated, what is the enemy then? And in his infinite wisdom, Lord Ravana made an interesting choice to part ways with his wisdom and give it to Lord Rama. And that is a very that says something about the entity's nobility, I believe.
Mm.
Or maybe I'm just advocating a little bit too much for a man that has fallen, a great man that has fallen, you know?
The underdog, huh? Yeah. I think we are the Asura Devas, as we've discovered. We are the bridge between both gods and the dark forces, demons, whatever you want to call them, daimons,
Sure.
eudaimons. There's so
I
many
mean,
different ways,
I
words
have a
for
favorite
it.
demon. If I love any demon, for sure it's Barbatos. I love his quote on to cut. To cut is to make a decision here and now, whether it's a good decision or not. It has helped me great in my career, and it's merely philosophy. When there's a knot in the road and it's just so unclear on what to do that everybody freezes up, are you willing to take a chance? Right, look at my work with the government. At some point, it was just so vague, so unclear that I figured, okay, it's clear to me that I need to be exactly Spirit Titans. I need to be the one to make this clear for me. And if it's clear for me, it's also clear for others. Oh, now that's clear for my team. Now we can start making decisions. Ah, so now I make making decisions easier. Fantastic. And although I haven't called upon him in a while, I know his teachings on your ability to make
Yeah, because
decisions
his teachings
has
are
been just,
embedded into your beingness too and who you
yes,
are. So I even think that silence can be a teacher from your guides. Even just you looking at their imagery or picture or video or something that you create, it's the way that your mind perceives it and pulls you towards it, right? So you are creating these thought forms, you're creating these egregores in a sense by
ah,
thinking about them and perpetually thinking about them. Now, you don't want them to go rogue, obviously, and you also don't want your ideas to kind of fizzle out because that's what happens with a lot of people is they start going on a metaphysical process and then after a while they just fizzle out. And if you want to create maintenance for your
yeah,
spirit guide mastery, then focus on one or two guides to begin with. Guys, don't go more than two. It's way too chaotic in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you want to get really, really familiar with a few guides that really connect to you, either your lineage, your soul,
I,
your birth chart, some way that
I
you
I would
can find an
recommend
overlap of all maps. Yeah.
make it as easy as possible for you. It would be the 90 days one deity.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's commitment. That is commitment. Like 90 days, one deity, and the easiest way to find a deity for you would be what are the stories that inspire you, and start
Mm.
working
Yeah.
on, even if it's the the Christ energy, so be it. Really read his story, really get to know what he is about, and what you realize, he's not exactly the way that he's being portrayed in media. He is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
Do
man.
you have
Flipping
the balls?
tables and like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Do you have that kind of balls, man? I might,
Locking eyes with, dark forces. I mean, that energy
That's
by itself is just next level. Yeah.
yeah. And that also means,
Christ is king. Let's go.
yeah, Christ is king because he's a great masculine avatar. What a
Mm.
great masculine avatar to embody.
All
Just like
these different
this
avatars is
is,
so fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
bro.
so many lessons to take from that. I mean,
Mm.
a 90-day challenge was for me, the Shakti challenge, to be
Mm.
so in gratitude of the feminine energy. So in gratitude, like so completely grateful.
That's so
And
counterculture, Ryan, where everybody's just like shaming the feminine energies and like kind of just like it's being more ostracized and it's like
yeah,
becoming commodified and shit. And you're out here like actually representing the divine feminine essence,
in the
which is
cold, in
in
the
the cold
rain,
weather.
in the
Yeah,
hail, where
right. No
and you
matter
know,
what,
and the
right?
wi- and the cold wind of the ocean, man, just goes straight to your winter jacket. I mean,
Yeah.
it can
Probably
only
but like sandy toes, like on your
nah,
bungee shoes.
sand in my face, that hurts. You're just trying to protect yourself and still being in the present and being as grateful as you can be. I mean, I'm like very
Mm,
grateful for the sand,
yeah.
but I am very grateful for a chance to build my character, right? And it's just those kind of things that I just kept doing. And
Mm,
it's delivered me from a lot of baggage that I was holding on to. And by doing such things, you know, it became very easy to have a date at the beach while doing that ritual, right?
yeah. We can talk more about like Shakti rituals in our next episode. Let's wrap it up, Ranji. I think we gave
We've already
them,
been way over an hour.
man.
Let's
We
then read the
dropped the
call.
wisdom tsunamis on this one though.
Yeah,
For real. For real. I think
it might also be because I'm listening to like throat chakra subliminal, so it makes me talk a lot.
are you
Uh,
listening to those as well? I'm listening to that as well. That's really
yeah, it's
interesting how
one of
we're
my
like
favorite.
tapped into the same energy
If
frequency. Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of listening
Synchronicities,
to the
guys.
right subliminals, I recommend you reach out to Chicken Nugget Ikere.
Bro, I'm
Chicken
gonna spit
McNugget.
out my guava juice.
Yeah. He
Shout out
makes
Fairly Odd
very
Parents, guava juice. No, a lot of
bro.
rare people
Hey,
know that
listen,
reference.
listen, Mr. Someone, Sir Someone, I live like 5 minutes from the beach. It's fantastic, but not when it's winter. Man, man, and we might have to talk in another podcast about this,
Mm,
about really how we build those Shakti rituals, because it's just way too important for men to be in deep appreciation and gratitude of their own feminine energies. I'm not saying feminine qualities, I'm saying feminine energies because you got that from your mama. And that maternal line, and it's just so important for your self-nurturing and yada yada yada. Anyway, I would say let's start ending with this podcast. I would like to say thank you all who have partaken in this conversation. Great points, Matis. They is
Berries. Yeah.
yeah. Well said, TXL. Every time, every time when you reach a new level, again, being favored by gods means being favored by the devil. So when you reach new levels, you will, of course, attract something anti, because when there's a thesis, there must be an antithesis. And it's almost like the universe, God, Allah, whatever, trying to ask you, now that you have it, what are you willing to do to keep it? And speaking of keeping it,
But yeah, you got
let's
kind of
get.
have to be like the spiritual Terminator at some points. Like I'll be back, and
Oh
just have
yeah, I love that role. What? Fuck tolerance. I'll smack you in your face. Fuck off. Fuck off.
they
It's
favor me.
Sumit,
Yeah,
Uncle Makara over there that keeps me on a leash before I just ruin people's lives because they piss me off. And then you have to
down, Ryan,
focus
down.
on
Yeah.
the karmic repercussions, and then I
Right.
have to like calm myself down before I really destroy them. And on the other hand, as more of knowing these destructive arts, I sometimes am faced with a fact where
What would you
I
call me then, bro? Constructive arts? Like
well, more the healing arts because shit,
healing arts. Right.
healing arts because well,
Makes sense.
technically we as Primal Sutra specialize more in the healing, but
Hey,
it's kind
you
of
got to
hard to heal when
destroy your identity at times in order to heal.
yes,
So we need both. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the GPS Guided Primal Sutra. My
Go.
name is Ryan G, all the way from the Netherlands, with my co-host and co-founder of Primal Sutra, Sumi Chatterjee, aka Uncle Makara. I hope that this has been a very informative, inspiring, productive podcast for you all, and I wish you the very best. May your life never be the same
Hey,
again. This has been GPS.
upward spiral, may the flow be with you. Let's
Heal
go.
the world, make it a better place.